You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast here with Tom and Jaye, coming at you live via Hendersonville and via Ecuador. We're just coming at you from all over the place here, folks. We're reaching episode 45 this week, and that means we only got about a month or so, or a couple months until we've made it. We've made it a full year. It's something where, wouldn't have thought it would have happened. Not even given any circumstance, just, when's the last time you've done something for an entire year? And we'll have a fun little callback episode when we reach a solid 365. So we're going to start this episode off the same way we do each one and ask the man of the hour how he is down there in paradise and see what's going on, even if it is the rainy season. And so, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing good. It hasn't rained in a couple of days, so everything is crusty and dusty.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, everything is groovy because when they drive through the mud and stuff and make the grooves, and then it gets so hot so fast that it just like cements everything. And so, yeah, it's a little daunting, especially going down the road because it's just so much dirt and dust and stuff. But it's all good.
Hey,
it's all good. Just cruising along, man. Cruising along. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think your better half is back down there with you now. So the party's over, my friend.
Yeah,
straighten
I know
up.
it.
Do it to it.
I know it. That's right. She came back last night, so I had to straighten up yesterday for all the parties that we had while she was gone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You and the two dogs and the cats, right? Just chilling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They've invited all the dogs in the neighborhood over.
I have no doubt. Yeah.
Like
some kind of silly animated movie out there,
Oh yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah.
So wanted to look at this episode and kind of get a sense of, since certain events have transpired over the past few weeks and stuff, and ask a question to ourselves, to the audience, to anybody who's listening. Thank you for our lovely subs out there.
Right,
yeah,
smash the like button,
smash the like, tickle the bell. Yeah. Still, one of my favorite comments ever was like, comment, and survive. Just really putting the message out there.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is, and comment down below, what are you thankful for? What is something that you've taken a moment out of your day, or it could be via meditation, via prayer, whatever it is. What are you thankful for out there? Because there are so many things in life when stuff might be getting you down, or the world seems way too chaotic. And there's a recent thing that us millennials and younger are calling doom scrolling, right? So we're going to mash in our Reddit hour here with this, where they call doom scrolling. It's like, hold up, take a break from looking at all the bad news. And it's become comical in a way where it's bad news all the time. You'll have this happening in Ukraine, this happening in the Senate, this happening like to inflation, gas prices, blah blah blah. And it's so much negativity. And if you're online, you'll have every 7 to 10 crappy posts or comments or whatever, and then you'll have a fun little puppy or something random like that, or some cute cat or bird or whatever to make you kind of chuckle, to take a break from the doom scrolling. But what is something that you're thankful for?
Are you talking to me?
I am.
Okay. I'm just glad to be alive. I'm thankful to be alive and to be in our little slice of paradise down here. Yeah. That I was able to pull off the move and relocate with Pat's help. and come down here and just chill. And I'm thankful to be alive and thankful for family.
So, one of the reasons why I asked this question is much like I said with the doom scrolling, the negativity, and all that stuff out there. When is the last time you were in a scenario where you were getting frustrated, or you may be getting sad, or were getting into a situation that would have pulled your mind away from that thankfulness?
This morning at 7:00, when I was trying to watch Fox and Friends, that with all the bad news, every night I'll do a lot of online. I'll look at YouTube, and at nighttime I do music videos while I'm sitting out on the porch and stuff.
Right.
And every now and then, if there's some breaking news, I'll look at it. But everything's gotten to be so much gaslighting. I'm trying to keep it politically correct. That I go to comical things before I go to bed,
Right.
because I found that I sleep better by not having the craziness. Excuse me, the craziness of life swirling around in my head before I go to bed.
Okay.
So I'll turn on Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, or I'll turn on Rodney Dangerfield, or Abbott Costello, something like that. Something that just kind of slapstick comedy before I go to bed, so that I'm able to go to sleep and my mind's not thinking, well, is Russia going to go nuclear, or, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when the thankfulness has left my mind, and I start thinking about other stuff that I shouldn't, or that doesn't matter to me.
Right.
So,
one of the things to kind of piggyback off of that a little bit is they say you shouldn't be on your phone or laptop or iPad or whatever at least an hour before bed in general, to let your mind decompress, and you'll have your thoughts to yourself, and it's not something where up until the very last second your eyes are like this on your phone, and then finally you're like, okay, but wait a minute, hold on a second, and then you keep going back to it, because I'm a gigantic proponent of that sort of thing, where I shouldn't say it like that. I break that rule all the time, right? I sit there with my phone in my hand, and I'm just like, I was actually talking to one of my peers about this a little while ago, where I found I wasn't sleeping very well, but part of that was because I was working so much that the decompression time I had to squeeze in during the time that I would be working. That I would be sleeping, excuse me. So it would be something where I would get 6 hours of sleep. I would feel as though that I got my recoup time a little bit, but the problem was that it was a diminishing returns, or it was a negative cycle, because at that point you'd be more tired, which means even if you worked more, that was diminishing returns, and then you had to still squeeze in the time there, but you had to work even more because it was crappier work and all this. And it was a very interesting revelation to myself, at least, about how that process went and how it was going, and something where had to make changes, had to plan for certain things, had to make sure that work-life balance was correct and beneficial, to make sure that things actually went. And that was a point in time for myself that I lost the thankfulness there. Being slammed, going ham, going a mile a minute, and it was something where I used to tell like Gina and a few others that I'm the luckiest person ever, and I'm thankful for so many things. And it was always genuine, of course. There were so many times when I would express something and it didn't seem genuine because of either my tone or something like that. But it was, it's always the case. And it's it's just amazing to be around right now. So definitely something pretty cool there. But to that end, how do you bring yourself back to the thankfulness if you've moved on from it a little bit, or let's say strayed from it a little bit?
Well, you just have to stop. I stop and I go, wait a minute. What am I doing?
Right.
You know, I mean, you just have to, I turn my phone off at night.
Smart.
Probably power off.
Yeah.
Completely off. Because people go, well, I turned my phone off. No, you don't. You set it down and don't pick it up, but you don't turn, I power it off every night, probably by 9 or later.
Sure.
Anytime after 9 o'clock. Because I'm 3,000 miles away. I can't do anything for anybody. I mean, I really can't. So there's not anything I can do except, there's nothing I can do.
All right.
Except receive information. So, but I did that a long time ago. I did that probably the last 5 or 6 years. I did that. Turned my phone off at night. Because when I drove a truck over the road and I'm in Dallas, I'm 750 miles from home. I wasn't anything I could do for anybody when they call me and go, you know, whatever's going on. You know, I had a flat tire or something on the way home. Well, okay, sucks to be you. You know, so
right.
You know, I can't help you being out here. So that's just something I've done talking about the phone. I don't live or die by my phone. I just don't. I left it today. We went into town and I left it here. And so
sure.
I'm gone from the phone for 3 or 4 hours at a time. So
yeah, but no. Yeah. We discussed this. You are not technically, because you are around folks who have a phone.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
So
some people
are, but it's like you're never really disconnected in the way that I think you're likening it to, with just you not having your phone around. But
well, I'm not trying to be disconnected, but not just down here. You take the chance of losing it, or if you set it on the table, somebody walk by or run by and pick it up and run off with it.
Sure. Yeah. That makes
so
sense.
I mean, they're notorious for that. Hell, they'll run by and snatch it out of your hand while you're talking on it and run off with it. So I don't even take the chance, man. I leave it here unless I specifically am going to need it for translation or something, which is rare. So
right. Yeah. That was always a fun little thing of just saying, okay, blah, 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 showing them the phone or it translating as you go. Right. Always super fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful to be alive. Some of the things that the life I've lived, it's a wonder I'm alive. I'm thankful for being here, but it's a wonder I'm alive. So,
well, to that end, the next thing that we wanted to kind of discuss a little bit was kind of what's next on the horizon. You're actually moving around a little bit here in the near future, right?
Yes, April the 4th.
Puttering around somewhere, right?
We're relocating our studios about 200 yards up the road.
It's interesting to see, like, hey, I'm going to move and go to a new city, or hey, I'm going to go and do this and whatnot. And it's like, no, I'm just going up about maybe a quarter mile that way.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, well, hey, do it to it.
If it's a quarter mile, but it's,
sure.
The place is twice the size. So
there you go.
Yeah, so we could spread out. This one's kind of small.
Well, that's fair. Well, I was going to say, to that end, I don't know, it might have been a little bit beneficial since it wasn't as much to clean, right? So, it goes hand in hand. But I think more space will definitely be nice, and you can spread out a little bit, and the dogs will be, excited to have, just a larger area. Even though it's pretty cool where y'all were, they could run around the little compound there and just kind of have free reign at it, but it'll be definitely pretty interesting. Where do you think that, like, the world is going? Because we're kind of talking about new horizons here. Like, I guess the world in general, Life in General podcast.
Life in subscribe and like and
That's it.
I have no idea where the world is headed, because now they're threatening using nukes and stuff. So I don't know. I try not to watch it because it's so much misinformation, and they're not ever going to tell you the truth. and it's so jaded that I try not to watch too much of it. I've gotten away from it. I used to enjoy it. I used to enjoy the informational part of it when I listen to like Ben Shapiro, or I listen to Dan Bongino, or people like that, because they were, and I always thought it was comical that Ben Shapiro moved from California to Tennessee to Nashville.
No, he moved to Florida. He moved his business to Nashville.
Business, yeah. Well, his operations are in Nashville. He moved it out of California.
Right.
And I always thought that's pretty interesting. So, I don't know. I don't know where it's headed. I don't have any idea where it's headed, because this is a circus, and we've got a bunch of clowns for ringleaders. They really do. I mean, they are just, I don't know where they come from, but I don't know. I don't know why, and I know you keep telling me their job is to stay in power, but nobody will do anything about the stuff going on. You're not going to do anything about gas prices, and you could fix that.
How do they? And you're not.
Crank the pipeline back up. Get the drills back out. Get the drills back out. We were energy independent this time last year. Or year before.
Do you think that just because gas prices go up slightly, it means that we are no longer energy independent?
Yes. And
because from what I've read, that is not the case.
You could fix the border, and you refuse to fix the border. All the COVID bullshit. You're trying to bring all of that. You're refusing to look at the real facts about that and how it all started and what happened. I mean, it's just, I don't know why they won't fix the things that are wrong. And then you're going to send $13 billion over to Ukraine, and you won't spend that 13 here. Send everybody that's hurting another stimulus check, if that's the case. I mean,
that would be kind of interesting. One thing to make note of there, like, I would say it would be difficult to figure out where to necessarily spend that in like the right space, and it of course would go through the House and the Senate and blah blah blah, and then no one would ever want to commit to
they're gonna shred. They're gonna shred it for their own political gain and their own purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Something that was kind of wild. And you kind of mentioned it a little bit when talking about media and all of that is, when did it start to seem like everything became or was becoming propaganda? Because, like, propaganda is a relatively newish term. And of course, I mean by that, like, human history levels of relatively new. Because everything has evolved so much and so fast in, like, the past just 50 to 100 years, right? I mean, if you look at it, there is so much happening in so little time. A great example was like the Wright brothers, right? We figure out as the human species how to fly, and then they would say, hey, we would never be able to go from like one city to another or one country to another, and by like in under 100 years, like a comically short amount of time, we went to the moon. Like, absolutely bananas how quickly things were evolving, and it kind of functioned on a J curve, right? It goes up exponentially very fast. But it seems that more and more media, just in general, it's all propaganda, and nothing is like just information. There it is. Chew on it however you should. Everything has a spin, a tilt, a twist, something like that. And you've been around the block once or twice. When do you think that started to happen?
Well, you don't know if they ever told you the truth.
Okay.
We have no way of verifying that we were ever told the truth. You don't know if Walter Cronkite on the evening news, you don't know if he was telling you the truth or not, because Paul Harvey, this is the news and only the news, or this is the rest of the story. That's what his was the rest of the story.
There you go.
We don't know
That's
they
true.
stop telling us the truth. I mean, but now it's out of control now. The way they just lie to your face.
Well, I would say
they lie. And see, now you always talk about everybody's got their phone and stuff.
Sure.
Well, everybody's filming this stuff. So when you're telling a lie, now they play it back and go, you're lying.
Yeah.
You said this. Well, I didn't. No, you said this. So you're lying to us. So it's taken people a while, but they're finally figuring that out, that most people are not telling you the truth. And I don't understand.
Something that is interesting about that, and you kind of made light of it a little bit, where people aren't held accountable for that stuff. Like, they just simply are like, oh, yeah, I lied. And then what happens?
And they just move on.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. That's something that's a little bit tilting for sure. Is
nobody does anything about it.
Well, and one of the things too is it could very well be something that in the offices of higher power and all of that, it's a house of cards, man. Like, legitimately, that what was that with Kevin Spacey or whatever, the House of Cards, right? Where being in the Senate or the House of Representatives or whatever, like one person pointing out the right thing collapses the entire thing. And it's something that it feels almost that everyone's kind of held hostage to their own game, not to anybody specifically, because you could remove a piece of the puzzle if with precision, and I'm sure it's been done before. People resigning, people getting caught on camera or tape or whatever doing X, Y, or Z, and then I guess they don't have enough ammo to fire back and say, okay, well, if I'm gone, you're gone, and so is everybody else. People just aren't willing to play that game, and it's a scenario where if you were living high on the hog and all you had to do is keep playing the game, even if you knew it was not good or bad, but you were just doing nothing but profiting from it. I mean, can you blame that individual, like that entity, for wanting to be that way? I mean, it seems as though that, yeah, it's a game. It's meant to be played a certain way, and the people who do it get rewarded, and then people who would try to change things for what we consider the better are ostracized, or they never even get a chance to run.
Right.
Because why in the world would they let somebody into their midst who would stop them? It seems ludicrous to me that anybody would ever let someone else say, hey, I'm going to come in here, make a change, and progress things or make things better. I would say, no, that person doesn't have a chance in hell in here. Like, that's just not happening. And I think that's one of the reasons why you say nobody's doing anything about it. Well, they can't, because they don't have enough backing, or they don't want to lose their silver spoon, or the folks who would want to, they never get they never get up to bat. Like, it just doesn't happen. And for whatever reason, people can stifle folks and do this and do that. And like, I don't know. It's a crazy deal. Like,
it'd be interesting in November, and you vote them out. They're up to like 19 people that are not going to run for re-election. So there you go.
In the Senate or the House?
I think it's the Senate.
Okay.
I think it's the Senate, but I'm not sure. But I know they pointed out there's 19 that are either retiring or not seeking re-election for whatever reason. And that's great. Put in some fresh people, man.
Well,
put in some fresh ones.
And yeah, I don't know. We have folks who we make them take a new driver's license test when they hit a certain age, but they can still be in office, and we don't bat an eye. And it's a scenario where, do we want people in their 70s and 80s running things when their mentality as a whole is not going to be thinking about younger generations? Like, that's just not how it works.
No, they don't. You need a Ted Cruz or a Ron DeSantis or somebody that's in their mid 40s or early 50s. You don't need no 79-year-old Trump or Biden or any of those jackasses, man. They've been around. Bernie Sanders, man, he carries an oxygen tank around wherever he goes. I mean, really, we don't need anybody else like that in the White House. You need fresh people in there with a little energy and some wits about them. That clown show up there now, man, is ridiculous.
It would be very interesting to have somebody on the podcast or somebody comment and leave a comment down below to links where it tells about the system at large and in general to say, okay, what would you effectively need to have happen to make a real change? I know one of the things would be to repeal the Citizens United Act or bill or whatever, saying that a corporation can act like a person when it comes to campaign finance and yada yada, when it's a scenario that just tipped the scales to money just instantaneously, because it means that corporations can spend unlimited amount of dollars because they are people or entities that can function like people, and then just say, cool, well, we're going to make super PACs and we're going to have this, that, and the other, and it's just going to flood money via lobbyists and corporations into Capitol Hill. And it's just crazy. Like, it's a scenario where, like, you wonder why hasn't somebody just, I don't know, just been like, bro, come on. Like, what are we doing up here? So.
But you said it's to stay elected and to keep the salary coming, and the activists or the lobbyists buying them new cars and, paying for their places to live and all that kind of stuff while they get their agendas pushed through. It's just, it's so corrupt. It's incredible, man. It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, speaking of corruption here, for whatever reason, they're talking about Hunter Biden again, and I am not sure why, unless they're finally saying, hey, stuff on that we've captured, like data or information, is legit not good, and here's what we think about it now. I'm thinking to myself, well, it seems a little late if that's what was going to have happen. But I think folks who, wherever they are or wherever they were, didn't want another Hillary Clinton issue, come election time, because that would just skew way too many people for votes this way or that way or whatever.
Well, that's why they suppressed it and said that it was Russian disinformation, and they lied about it. And now they've been caught in their lie. Okay. And now they're having to circle back, as Peppermint Patty says. We got to circle back, and we were mistaken. Yeah, we were mistaken about this. No, you were lying about it all the time. You were lying about it because you're liars, and Joe's a liar, and Hunter's a liar, and all the family, they're all liars, and they've all benefited from this. And now they had Bobulinski on there. That's one of his business partners. He gave them all the inside information. This was before the election. They said pictures of Vice President Slow Joe and Hunter with these Russian operatives and stuff, and all the old rich guys in Russia and Ukraine. That's why he's tiptoeing around Ukraine, because I can't believe they hadn't already come out and dropped a dime on his ass about all the corrupt things he did over there in Ukraine, since they seem to be collapsing every minute of every day.
Well, I was going to say, why would you take away I would say, a relatively strong ally, especially since, you mentioned earlier that they're going to give them X amount of billions of dollars in Ukraine. So there'd be like no way I would come out and speak ill about the fatted calves and goats that I was being given.
Well, help us out. Help us out. Do you think that money actually hits the streets or hits the people there in Ukraine?
No.
You think that the antique MiG fighter jets that they're trying to get from all these places that they don't even know if they'll fly or not, and you're trying to give them old used up equipment and stuff, and that's your way of helping? If I was Ukraine, I'd say, look, man, we've given you millions and millions of dollars. You got to help us. And we've given you money. Put it out there, Zelensky. Put it out there. put out the corruption. Put the corruption out there and make Joe help you. I mean, I'm not personally. My personal opinion is we don't have any business in that mix over there. But if the corruption's going to be like that, then they need to call him out on it.
That's okay.
They need to call him out on it because Hunter's a criminal, man. He's a criminal.
That's fair.
I don't know what they're. Who knows? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to him.
No, of course not.
Nothing's going to happen to Joe. Nothing's going to happen to Clinton. Though they've already done Jeffrey Epstein in. Nothing's going to happen to all these people that are doing all this kind of stuff. John Kerry, all the people that got the underhanded stuff going on. Nothing's going to happen to them. They're not going to do anything. Well, we're investigating. Who cares? You're not going to do anything. Well, the grand jury, you're not going to do nothing. Nothing. You're all lip service. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to take anybody out back and shoot them. You're not going to sentence them to the electric chair. You're not going to put them in prison.
Well, I was going to say,
anybody.
Well, okay, I wouldn't conflate. You're not going to do anything like kill them or kill them or kill them or kill them. It's okay. We can do other things other than remove people from power via other means than body bags.
They're not going to do that either. They're not going to do that either. They're going to stay right there where they are, fat catting. Watch and see. They're not going to do anything.
Well, the Life in General podcast is in no way condone harm or harmful actions to any entities, groups of people, or anything like that. So, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of wild that he was popping back up again, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, it's old news now. So when things pop back around, nothing is like
nobody cares.
Well, I would say, or even if they did care, what are you going to do?
That's what I just said 10 times. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Doesn't matter what nothing's going to happen about the border unless Texans get off their ass and build their own damn wall. People are still going to be marching through their ranches and marching through their backyards and stuff coming across the border. You're not going to do nothing about the border. You're not going to do nothing about inflation. You're not going to do anything about the pipelines and the drilling and trying to get you guys better fuel prices and better oil. And, Pat said that the shelves were empty. She said, when you go into a store, she said, it's pitiful that some of the shelves are just bare and some of the stuff that you're trying to buy. Now, I don't know where she went. She didn't say, but
I was going to say,
she said,
I don't know where she's going, but now that is, to be fair, perhaps I bought my stuff at a different time, but I don't remember the shelves being empty. Now, however, that, like I said, could have been a couple weeks ago when things may have been better.
I don't know where she went, but she said there's an impact. There's an impact into the supplies that people are getting and the things that are going on.
Sure.
And she said it's just it's ridiculous, and nobody is going to do anything about it. It's like the trucker convoy. Ooh, what did you do? Did you drove around to D.C. a couple of times and you got Ted in the front seat waving? What did you do? What did you accomplish? What was the goal? What did you accomplish, and what was the end result? Nothing. I asked a Canadian person yesterday, what's going on with the trucker convoy in Canada? Huh? The trucker convoy in Canada, and she went, huh? And she's all Canadian, keeps up with the news and all that kind of stuff. Nothing happened. Nothing. Yeah, nothing happened. Few people were put in jail. A lot of people siphoned their money and stole, millions of dollars from them, and instead of giving it back, we're going to give it back. Sure you are. Yeah. Sure you are. Yeah. Same thing in the United States. The trucker convoy. No. It's crap. It's all lip service, man. It's all lip service. Nobody's going to do anything about it. It's not like you took 100 trucks and parked them out in front of the White House and blocked all that up for, 2 weeks or something like that. Or it's not like you just pull over and stop for one day, everybody across America could paralyze the country. But
yeah, they could.
Never happened. Never happened.
They could, but the problem is that we've made a society that is propelled by work and consumption, right? I mean, capitalism at its finest, right?
Okay.
Because if the wheels don't turn, then you ain't going to earn. Okay.
That's right.
And it's something where many people that you knew, I'm sure, when you were driving a truck, couldn't afford to not work a day or 2 or 3 days because they lived in such a capacity. And this works for a lot of, or this happens for a lot of people. It's not just truckers, obviously, where if they don't function that day, they're not going to get paid. Means they're not going to eat. Means they might not be able to save a little bit of scratch for that car crash coming, or that broken arm, or that infection, or whatever. And it's a scenario that we've made a society that, at least here in good old America, where, yeah, you can work your ass off and hopefully make a lot of money, but you can't take that money with you. And it's something, too, where a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck because either a lack of an education, lack of trying, just lack of funds in general, people not making enough to actually save, working the job that they do. And it is difficult. Like, we have made it, just as a society in general, we've made it difficult to do the right thing and focus up on the right stuff because people are too busy working to try to just function, just trying to live, but off of what means they have. Because, I mean, honest to goodness, like, you have people who don't have a lot of time or money or whatever because they're too busy, hustling. Like they're too busy moving and grooving to be able to focus up on anything else. Or a lot of people just don't care. I mean, there was definitely a more nihilistic version of myself who I didn't care, and I just wanted to, move on and be left alone. So it's definitely something where we can't be uppity or upset about folks not wanting to, I don't even want to say do the right thing, but have a dog in that fight, because it's something that, just like we've talked about a lot of times before, until it actually reaches up and, punches people in the face, or it's on their kitchen table, it doesn't matter. And all when we're talking about the whole media starting to be or seem as though it's becoming propaganda, well, that's kind of what's going on. Like, they just have us chasing our tails. So how in the world can we focus up on making a change for the better in the proper way, coming together, when one of the main goals is to divide? Because, they understand a unified front would wipe out the entire system.
When was the last time I thought about this? I think about this quite often. When was the last time that you were in a situation, and I don't know how to describe the situation, but in a situation where you wished you had handled it differently, thinking about it later? And by that, I mean, I'm 68 years old, and I think about jobs that I've had over the years, and, well, if you don't do this, you're going to be in trouble. Well, and I think about it today. What's trouble? What is trouble? You can't cut me up and eat me. You can't shoot me. And there's several times that I wish now that when I left a job, I'd punch somebody in the face before I left. But just because they knew they were wrong. And I think about that, and I'm thinking, well, you're going to be in trouble if you don't act right, or if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. And in reality, they're going to have your job posted on the web before you're in the ground. That's just how stupid or how crazy life is. But I wish now that several places that I had worked when I left, they left them a conversation to talk about when somebody was picking himself off the ground or something. Do you ever run into that situation where you think, man, this guy told me I was going to be in trouble, and, what is trouble? They're going to make me draw a circle and put my nose in it on the blackboard and stand in the corner you're 35 years old, man. Or 34. however old. And I'm 68. You know,
I'm 34. Get it right, good sir. I'm not that old just yet.
And I think about all the times that, that I was, somebody said that to me, well, you're going to be in trouble or this is going to happen or something. And I'm thinking now all of those times were such bullshit. They were all such bullshit. You know, fire me. I don't care. Fire me.
Okay.
But anyway, that just goes.
That's a fair question.
It was swirling around in my head, and I'm thinking,
because you're retired, you don't have anything to do other than think back about the things that go on. I understand.
Easy now.
Well, I mean, I'm not wrong.
Don't hate.
I'm not wrong. So
don't hate.
I'm not hating in the slightest. I'm just presenting facts because facts don't care about your feelings, right? So to that end, there are I function, excuse me, more based off of pride more than and being useful more than anything. Okay. If there were 7 deadly sins, mine would be pride and then gluttony, right? Because I mean, look at me, come on. I ate my former self. Come on. So what I mean by pride is this: I'm very much a utilitarian. People who know me relatively well understand that to the nth degree. I would much rather be useful than anything else. Because, so pride and kind of wanting to be useful, that whole kind of deal going hand in hand, I don't normally function off of like thinking, oh, someone is going to think I'm going to be in trouble. That, I don't like... I've already gone beyond the whole, like, okay, what's trouble? Because what are you going to do, fire me? I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to be more mad at myself that I didn't do my best or I didn't do better for the people around me, for my family, for my friends, and act in a certain way that would make them proud and keep me proud of myself than someone ever being like, well, you're going to get in trouble. It's like, no. I got to come at that from a different angle. Because people getting on to me or whatever, it's something where not many people are going to out-talk me, like when it comes to a lot of situations. And it's a scenario that if it ever came down to that sort of thing, well, that can be turned on them very easily and very quickly, especially on folks who would get me in trouble. Right. And something too, I very rarely in my life do I ever think about violence as a repercussion to folks' actions, right? Because especially nowadays, it's like, who is it? Mike Tyson talking about, people act way too much like they're not going to get punched in the face for what they say. And that's true, because a lot of the times, much like this interaction here, I mean, we can badmouth each other and I'll see you in a month and then we can go to blows. But it's a scenario right now, and our people who want to comment or want to downvote or whatever, it's like, well, there's protection there. But no,
that's a warning too. April the 19th, I'll be there, so that's a warning.
Yeah. With wheels, with ammo, with all this. Right? But no, there haven't been many times, to answer that question, a large roundabout way to get there, that I've looked back on something and said, "Man, I wish I punched that guy in the face, or that gal in the face, or that entity in the face," because it's 2022. You never know what you're going to hit. So to that end, not particularly. Now, do I regret things? Oh, 1,000%. I mean, who doesn't, right? But it's never been something where me thinking, oh man, I'm going to get in trouble, or because I've lost my job a couple of times, and it was never great, but it wasn't ever a situation where I thought back on it and wished harm on anybody. And that goes back to the whole thankful thing, right? Because something that I have seen a lot in my recent years is people wishing ill towards others, and it used to never be like that.
Right.
I mean, wanting people to be punished for whatever reason, in whatever capacity, has become so much in the front of our minds that it's, to quote some silly little YouTube thing, it's like, it's absolutely outrageous. Because why in the world would you or me or any other entity wish harm on something else? What's the point? Like, what are we getting out of that negative thinking?
Another criminal off the streets.
But that criminal is someone's daughter, someone's son, someone's possible mother, father, husband, wife, sister, brother.
Okay.
Like, it's a person or an entity, whatever. I don't want to wish ill upon them because they might have wronged somebody once. I mean, okay. Because at that point, you're getting into certain subtleties of what's a criminal. Have you ever done anything illegal? Does that mean we get you off the streets instantaneously?
Absolutely, and you did. But then it's
we got you off the streets. Yeah. That's it.
That goes back to one of the issues, like one of our first shows, that when I said, when did America become soft? And America is soft. They're soft because years ago, we dropped not one, but 2 bombs and had no regard for men, women, children, animals, vegetation, nothing.
Hold up. That's not true. And we talked about this last time because for whatever reason, you can't remember that we dropped pamphlets and notifications and all this shit into these places beforehand.
I don't have to remember it. So there you go.
It is definitely something where we had some amount of regard, not a ton, because we did drop the sun on a nation twice.
Yes, we did.
But
and America's soft now.
Okay, hold up. We may have talked about this a little bit last time as well when we spoke about this, because back then we were the only people who had the power of the sun in the palm of our hands. Right now, everyone has it. Okay, so
that's right.
if we take this sun and they take this sun, and then this other person does this because they're set off by you doing that. I mean, it's a scenario that, like, okay, if you want to take us all out,
it could be very ugly. Yeah. Well, you said you were ready to go the other day when we talked. You said you were ready to go.
I certainly am, but I don't. That does not mean that I have to say it on the fucking show.
Right?
Oh no! Hold up.
Do you realize how close Russia is to Alaska? It's like 53 miles. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, wait a minute. The United States is right here.
Come here, Thanos. Look at this. I'm ready to go. You know who this is? Thanos.
It looks like Ron Perlman.
No, it's Thanos. So Thanos took out half of the universe with a snap of his fingers, and I respect that dude. So it's a scenario where I wouldn't want to be vaporized. Of course, I'd want to be vaporized because that'd be a shadow on the wall, and I would feel nothing. Like, heaven forbid, the last moments are pain. It's just like done, snap of the finger, man. But anywho,
okay. Speaking of being vaporized,
what?
Did you know that another one of Swalamy Harris's staffers have left their office? She's the worst vice president in the history of the United States. She's had 10 staffers leave her administration, had 10 staff people leave her office in the year that she's been VP.
When you say
this time in the midst of borderline World War III, it was her national security advisor. Right when she came back from making an ass of herself in Poland.
Okay.
She came back and they said, I'm out of here. So that's the 10th person. Does that not tell you something? That people are leaving the office? That's because they don't want to be affiliated or known by the company you keep or whatever, that they're leaving that office? Because the vice president is such a schmuck?
So when you are saying she is the worst vice president in the history of the United States, can you name me 5 other vice presidents?
Al Gore.
Who was he vice president to?
one of the Bushes, I think.
Okay.
There was two Bushes,
Right.
and Joe Biden was
Right.
Barack Obama's, and then Spiro Agnew was a VP, and I don't remember. I don't know. Hey, you said 5,
No,
so I'm struggling here.
I'm looking
okay?
at the Rolodex, and I'm like,
I'm struggling here.
we know who was the person for Dwight Eisenhower, who was the person for, back in the day, like the VP used to be the person who lost, right? Unless
I thought they were the person that took care of most of the business.
They very well could, but anywho, right? I mean, right now, like a VP to me doesn't seem like they're the person who I want to pay attention to, and it seems like, okay, well, it's just more propaganda, like that's fine if people are leaving their staff. I hope the president's chief of security doesn't leave, but if the vice president's version of that, I don't.
Well, some of his staffers need to leave too, because that's a clown show. Some of the people get it in the booty. Buttigieg. Yeah, he was a mayor of a city and went to be director of transportation or something. Okay. National Transportation Advisor. You got to be kidding. Right. They said he couldn't even fix the potholes in his own city, and you're going to make him over all the infrastructure in the United States. Get out of here with that show, man.
Well, I would say at this point, qualifications mean nothing.
Are you? I'm glad you brought that up. Going into our next topic, how about the judicial nominee for the Supreme Court?
Haven't seen much on him. Why don't you give us a little breakdown?
Well, Joe decided that he was going to nominate a woman, a female of color.
Cool. Okay.
First one ever on the Supreme Court. Right now, if she got appointed, there'd be four females and 5 males. There would be 9. And they got to keep it. They got to keep it odd, because if it's even, then you're screwed.
They'll gridlock.
It can't be 4 and 4.
Right.
So, one of the senators at the confirmation hearing brought up 7 of her cases. She was a federal court. She was a federal court appeals judge. When she was appointed to this, she was confirmed 55 to 43. Now, that was 10 years ago. So I don't know what the makeup of the Senate was. Sure. But you had 43 people, almost 50% of the people in the Senate that didn't want her to be confirmed.
Yeah, but
that ought to tell you something right there.
Not inherently, and the only reason why I say that is because, as we've seen, as time has gone on, it's now about saying, are you blue? Well, fuck you. Are you red? Better off dead. Like, it's a scenario where it's not like it used to be saying 75% of the people would vote this, and you'd have a small majority, 1% doing nothing because that's just what they did, and then 24% saying no. Now it's almost always 50% down the middle, unless it's just something random that everyone's like, okay, if you don't vote yes for this, then you're going to look like a Russian loyalist. So,
well, race and gender should not be a shield that would shield her from the questions that they need to ask. The last time that they put Amy Coney Barrett up there, they attacked her religion.
Yeah.
That whole big time. Called her the devil and everything else. Then they had Brett Kavanaugh saying he was raping women in colleges and binge drinking and all that. Really? And I was watching a little bit of it, and the senators are like, well, we're not going to turn this into a shit show like our Democratic colleagues did the last time. Why are you whining and licking your wounds? Ask the lady the questions, or just say no and get up and walk away. No, because you're too radical. Those 7 cases that the senator brought out were about child pornography and child endangerment. And all 7 cases that they came before her, she gave them the minimum amount of sentencing. The minimum amount of sentencing that she could give them.
Okay.
These are pedophiles and child pornography distributors and bad people. And you didn't give them the sentence that the judge recommended or the sentence that the district attorney recommended. You gave them a lower sentence than both of them. So you're soft on child porn? I mean, I don't get it, man. If I'm a senator and she wrote in a thesis back, I guess, when she was either a judge or she was in college or whatever, she wrote in a thesis that all judges have agendas.
Sure. But
Okay.
because they're people. Like, people
That's
have
correct.
agendas.
That's
right?
correct. That's correct. You've got an agenda. So is it a personal agenda? Is it a racial agenda? Is it a corporate agenda? Everybody's got an agenda. So she wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
Her words on paper. And somebody asked her about it and said, read what she wrote and said, "What's your agenda?"
Yeah. Okay. That's
Well,
fair.
the news media's heads exploded because now you're picking on her. No, you wrote that. You wrote that. I'm not picking on you. I'm just regurgitating what you wrote. So what's your agenda? And she started hemming and hawing around and stuff. That's just like the guy that they put out there for the guy for ATF director.
Okay.
That lunatic. So the first question one of the questions the guy said, would you, if you're appointed director, would you ban assault weapons? And he said, yes.
I would say define an assault weapon.
That's its very next question was define an assault weapon.
Right.
Well, if I'm appointed, no, define an assault weapon. And the guy could not give, now this is going to be the director of the ATF, could not give the guy a definition for an assault weapon.
I'm going to tell Pat to get over there and give you some Kavu tea, some calm down tea, some shit like that, because we got to rein in.
So they didn't appoint him. They told him to hit the bricks.
Sure.
Start kicking cans, man. They need to tell her the same thing.
Okay.
Get out. Get out.
Okay.
We've got an open spot. Now, I don't ask me who I'd put in there because I don't have that answer. Okay. But we don't need an old fat white guy again. I don't care who you put in there, but go by their qualifications. Now, nobody's going to be perfect. But what's your agenda? You're not there to rewrite the Constitution. You're not there to bring your left-wing ideology into the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. No, you're a left-wing judge, and they know that. So say no, send her home, quit wasting the taxpayer dollars, and tell Slow Joe find somebody else. I'm just saying, it's all lip service. It's all lip service. We're going to take a vote. You got my vote. My vote is no, and I'm getting up and leaving.
Okay.
Write that down. And I'll go on and try to pilfer money out of the $13 billion going to Ukraine. To Ukraine. We all crane.
Yeah, we all crane for ice cream. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I'll be trying to get some of that money for my constituents, or to build a better road, or to build a pool hall where I can hang out when I retire. I don't know, man.
You should look at adopting a highway down there in Ecuador. That might be kind of cool there.
You've been here, right? It'd take me like 10 years to clean one of these highways up, and they'd have it trashed out.
Well,
they just burn it. I can adopt it and then set it on fire and burn a quarter mile or so, or a half mile. Once you set them on fire, man.
Hey, man,
they just
sounds
burn all up.
Awesome. Burn it up. So, anywho, bringing it full circle. Hit our hour mark, going ham.
Oh my gosh!
15 rounds in the ring. No holds barred. Gloves are off. The old rope-a-dope's coming. Floating like butterflies, stinging like more butterflies, because we ain't got no stinging.
You said Mike Tyson had a quote. He also had another quote that every person has an agenda until they're punched in the face.
Yeah, until you're punched in the face. Yeah, dude. That's exactly right. So,
do you see where they're selling that they have Mike Tyson candy ears?
Yes, ears, man. Oh my goodness.
A lot of people won't get that, but
well, I mean, you know. Oh. I'm gonna end my part with this. Okay. I was told by a coworker today. Okay. Coworker and another coworker. Okay. This person said, people who aren't like there are some people who aren't workers. Okay. And they don't want to work. And it's the millennials who don't want to work. And this other person who was in this conversation knows me very well and knows my age and knows a lot about me, etc. And he starts laughing and he says over the phone, and he's like, "Jay, aren't you a millennial?" And I am like prime in the center of being a millennial. And that's what I told him. I said, "Yeah, I'm about as millennial as one could possibly fucking be." And the guy has to start, backpedaling, right? And he says, "Oh, well, he's the exception," and it is something. Oh man, yeah. I have almost fought family members based on that dumb ass, stupid fucking bullshit that millennials are fucking lazy. Okay, come at me in the comments, bro, about that dumb bullshit, because if you want to think that millennials are fucking lazy, okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion because this is America, and the Life in General podcast is in no way condone any. No, but
the physical harm
of anybody or any entity,
any animals.
Anything.
No animals were harmed in the
making of this podcast. And oh man, oh man, it kills me every time. And so it's a scenario where isn't this the human race? Like, can't we group hug it? Like, hug it out, bitch. It's one of those scenarios. Like, quit. And I'm saying this out to the world. Quit classifying people. Like, quit grouping these people up and think about the individual, right? Think about the person. Much like I added this into one of our other podcasts, if not another one, because I love it so much, is Men in Black, right? Where Tommy Lee Jones says, a person is smart, they're capable, they can keep their wits about them, but people are dumb, panicky, and it, right? Where when you group people, you're making a set of assumptions. And now, granted, that can sometimes be to your benefit if it comes down to personal safety or whatever, but
came out of a group hug because the person hugging you is going to be trying to get gas money out of your pocket.
Then, drop the nukes. Peace out, y'all. We'll catch you in the next episode. No other topics.
See you.